Going on, y'all? As we keep it on this channel, uncut, unfiltered. I don't have the technology or the money to be editing anyway, or the time to be editing right now. So it's just gonna be what it is. But I'm thinking of doing some monthly check-ins. I think that will be my first segment on this channel is just doing a monthly check-in on how things are going with me and my journey every single month and just seeing how things progress. I'm not even going to try to blur my background. You can see the suit with the tie strung all across, and you can see my clothes. Everything's not, organized. It is what it is. This is me, Maybe in the future videos I'll have it more tidied up. Right now, hey, this is where I'm at. Um, I'm gonna do these in like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 format. I'm thinking. So we'll do five general updates. We'll do four W's, three L's, two pieces of advice that I received in the past month, and one goal that I have for the next month. So that's kind of how I want to structure these. And as we go along, maybe I'll think of new ways or whatever. But this is what I'm thinking right now. So, first, five general updates. So we'll start with work. Yeah, work been blowing me, man. I work as a clinical research coordinator. I work on bladder cancer clinical trials at a major hospital in Boston, and I like what I do, but like my last job, I worked a lot more with patients, like patient-facing work, which is what I really enjoy, which really gets me excited about not only just being able to have an impact on someone's, life, but also just like prep for the future as a physician. So this job, it's like I only see patients maybe like 2 or 3 times a month. So it's not as enjoyable. Mind you, if my job was to just do back end work, data entry, project management, then cool, I would enjoy that. But because my job is to mostly work with the patients and I'm not doing that, that's what kind of drains me. You know what I'm saying? So work has been blowing me. And just like because I work at a not-for-profit hospital, the deductions are so huge, the paychecks are criminally low. Like my last job, it was a private research facility. Everything was kind of covered. So your paychecks was looking a little healthy. And then I got to this new job and it's like, I'm doing the same work. I'm getting paid half as much net income, even though the gross incomes are only $9,000 apart. So imagine my surprise when I see my first paycheck and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be behind on rent at least once. And it has happened. So yeah, so that's how work is going. And so it's not great. I love my team. Love my team. That's the worst part. When you love the team, but you don't love the pay and you just like, I love it here, but I come home and I'm sad. So that's work. School is the next update I have. Graduation is around the corner. Graduation is in May. I'll be graduating from the University of Michigan with my public health degree, my master's. I have two concentrations. They said, oh, you should concentrate on one. I did two. I did the applied epidemiology concentration. And I did the health behavior methods and skills concentration. So I'm really looking forward to adding those to my, belt. And yeah, they're kind of playing right now because I entered and applied for the graduation and when they sent us the program for the public health graduation, my certificates weren't on there. And I was like, you need to put those certificates on my program because I worked really hard on that computational epidemiology class and I did not crawl through that class for it not to be on the program. So please add it on the program. So I'm like going back and forth with them right now, trying to get that added back. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll call it out during graduation. Maybe they won't. If they won't, I'll be a little irked, but at least I graduated. That's what's most important. So that's my next update. Research. Yeah, I'm working on a dope research project. It's my capstone project. We're essentially looking at a literature review with the qualitative interview component on what the best practices and implementation recommendations are for community health centers to implement clinical research. Because community health centers are so uniquely positioned to include marginalized patient populations into clinical research. And as we know, many groups that have been historically underrepresented or historically marginalized are not represented in a lot of research, especially in research that occurred before the year 2000. So women, black people, Latinx people, trans people, et cetera, et cetera. Immigrants, limited English proficiency, all types of people that are just not as well represented in the clinical research. So how can you be sure that all your interventions, all your drugs, therapies, et cetera, are actually equitable for all patients? So I think it's very in line with my philosophy in terms of public health and clinical medicine. And I really love this project and I have a great research mentor. So that's my update in terms of research. Student leadership, I'm doing anything and everything. I'm on an SNMA position nationally. I started a chapter lead position with the Brothers in Public Health. Um, what else? I'm in something else. Oh, I'm a vice president of the Greater Boston NPHC. How could I forget? And yeah, just doing a lot of things in terms of leadership, and everything will be on my application. It will be on the application, but will it drain me to the point that I'm too tired to move by the end of the week? Most likely. So it is what it is, but that's where I am at in terms of my update on student leadership. And I'm going to AMEC in Pittsburgh this year for AMEC 2025. For those of you who do not know, AMEC is the annual medical education conference hosted by the Student National Medical Association. It is where you will see the largest congregation of Black pre-med students, Black medical students, and Black physicians all in one place, sharing information, sharing details, sharing experiences, connecting, leading workshops, leading research presentations, and just indulging in Black excellence in medicine. And I think it's been a great experience every time I went. I went last year in St. Louis. I went to the one in Philly, which was several years back. I missed a good amount of them because of money. It does cost a pretty penny. Luckily, my school is fitting the bill for this one. Thank you, University of Michigan. Or else I don't know how I would have made it. But yes, University of Michigan is footing that bill to get me to AMEC. And I'm staying with the bros in Pittsburgh because I ain't have enough money for the hotels. So I ain't buying like that. So but I will be at AMEC, and I do love AMEC. I look forward to it. So those are my five general updates. Now we go to the four W's. I led a public health panel. That's for the organization that I'm in, Brothers in Public Health. And we had a doctor of public health on there who was prior faculty from Brown. We had someone who was the co-founder of Health Equity Institute at the Rhode Island Department of Health. Who else? I had someone who was in Brothers Public Health, and he's a health policy manager in the Boston Public Health Commission. And then the other person, we had a lawyer who actually does a lot of litigation work that's related to public health. So it was really dope. It was a dope panel, a lot of information shared, a lot of gems dropped, and I enjoyed being able to moderate that. And I'll also drop the link to that in the description. What are the W's? I also had won a free MCAT practice exam, which is great timing because once I finish this degree, I will be studying for the MCAT very rigorously. So I got on a random blueprint, like free class that they were offering, to like test and demo if you want to take their paid class. And I got on there and towards the end they had a giveaway and I won. So I got some free prep tests and I'll be using those this summer. I gained a new mentor. I actually met someone who has a very similar story to mine, with just having lower grades in undergrad and just like really having to fight to to not only get the MPH but also have to do a post-bac program in the future and still get into med school. And she made it. She made it seem very, um, I always knew the role was going to be hard, but she gave me a very clear roadmap onto what it looks like in my situation in relation to hers, and it gives me a lot of hope. So yes, that's a W, getting a new mentor. And just I've met multiple doctors and doctors of public health um, in the past month that have just been great. I've been getting lunches with people at work that are doctors, especially if you're a Black physician and you got that doctor badge. I'm stopping you on the street and I'm saying, hey, let's get lunch. And that's worked very well. So if you're a pre-med, you work at a hospital, you have some affiliation with a hospital, or if you just live near a hospital, go to the campus, talk to somebody. It sounds scary, but it works. I've been getting lunch back to back to back to back. Like almost every other week, I have either a Zoom call or a lunch with the physician, most of which end up being black. So better than just staying in your own silo, if you ask me. Those are my four W's, three L's, and I don't love to end with L or like go do my L's after the W's, but it just worked with the framework of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it is what it is. We're gonna do L's after W's. I'm broke. Like broke. I mentioned it with the work. Broke. Paycheck too small. My expenses ain't changed. It's broke. We broke. I don't know. Hey, we're broke. It sucks, but the next L is related to being broke. I skipped my PCP appointment, which boggles my mind. It has really bothered me a lot because I want to be a physician. I understand the importance of preventive medicine. I understand the importance of checking up on your body and your wellness. I understand the importance of seeing a physician, seeing a dentist, seeing an optometrist. And I could not help but skip my PCP appointment because I thought, hey, if I get that bill, my budget's cooked for the rest of the month. So I won't be able to pay rent. I won't be able to pay my student loans. I won't be able to pay my car note. And you'd be like, hey, Anthony, why do you have a car note if you're broke? It's a rental car. It pays me back, but there's obviously expenses that you just have to handle. Um, and my personal car has an insurance payment. Won't be able to pay that either if I get that bill. So I was like, I just skipped it, man. I felt terrible. It really does bother me. But just trying to care for myself. But if I can't live, it's like care, eviction. Care and get evicted. Don't care and stay housed. Reasons why I'm in public health, right? Third L, I had to pass up on a senior position that I was in the running for at my job, uh, which sucked. The only reason I passed on it is because it's an increase in income, but it's only a 10% max increase due to the hospital policy, which only amounts to about a $5,000 increase. And with the deductions that we have, I mean, the deductions are so huge, it would barely make a difference. I would actually just be doing more work, and I already feel overworked. So I had to pass it up because it just didn't make sense. And I feel bad because I actually really been wanting a senior position. Like I really been wanting a senior position. So I'm kind of kicking myself on saying no to it. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should have just done it just to get the experience. But what would have been the worth? I'm already fatigued. My job already makes me sad. I don't see why I should do more. It's just gonna get worse. So I never thought the day would come where I would reject a senior position. And that day has come. That day has come. So it is what it is. But we're learning, we're living. These are just some L's I took in the past month. Advice that I would share for folks, things that I've heard in the past month that I think would be useful for those who are hearing my story. One thing, I've been being told a lot to focus on the MCAT. So pre-meds, especially if you're finishing either your junior year, your senior year, or you're finishing your MPH or other graduate program, and you still have the MCAT. And you feel like if you're like me and you're like feel very antsy, you like want to work on a bunch of different things, and I want to get this experience, and I want to get this experience, and I want to get this experience, and I want to get that, and I want to do this, and I want that, and I want that. That's how I am. And the majority of physicians that I've been speaking to about my experiences, they've been telling me, hey, you need to focus on the MCAT. So whatever it is in your life that is like the big barrier or like the big next step, and you're like focusing on all the things around it or like that are kind of related, but not that thing, focus on that because that's gonna get you to the next step. So I'm trying to focus on that MCAT next. If that's what y'all need to focus on next, focus on that. Or if it's some other barrier in your life or some other big step, and you're just kind of having some little bit of anxiety towards there, a little reluctance, but you know that's the next thing you lock in on, focus on that. because that's gonna get you to where you're trying to go. Next thing is also fix your vision to include both your hustle and relaxation. And what that means is I've been having some recent conversations with people in my circles on how do you balance hustle with no, how do you where's the line between hustle and balance? Because when I hustle, when I do all these things, it feels like I don't have balance. And when I feel like I go for balance, I'm not doing enough. I'm not hustling. And it's like to get to where I'm trying to go, which is physician, the public health, systems minded, super leader physician that I want to be. But I also want to be the kind, caring, compassionate, ever present family man, boyfriend, brother, relative, friend to others that I care about. And that requires balance. So how do I do both? It seems so difficult to do both because a lot of the physicians I talk to, especially the surgeons, hey, they don't be talking about no balance. They don't be talking like, yo, like there was this one surgeon I was talking to. He was like, yo, I'm not well. I'm like, yo, you're not well. He was like, yeah, and I'm the wellness chair. I said, oh, the wellness chair is not well. He hustling. And that was great on his CV. You know what I'm saying? He's doing the dang thing. Yeah, doing research presentations. He looks great, but he ain't got no balance. And he admits it. So it's like, how do I toe that line between hustle and balance? I'm trying to figure that out. So my advice is to find and fine tune your vision to find the fine line that includes both hustle and balance. I haven't found that, but that's my advice to you. Goals for the next month. Hopefully, I could talk more about this in my check-in, in my next monthly check-in. But I would really love to finish my capstone project that I mentioned earlier. It's related to my research. Um, I'm really excited about this research. I mean, I never, I always thought that research kind of had to be like wet lab, basic science, biology, molecules, and biochemistry, the super granular science stuff. And that's really not what I was interested in. That was what my first research position was like a part-time position where I was doing some wet lab work, um, and we were basically doing working on a solution that uh, grows platelets from scratch. It was cool. But it didn't really interest me. I was only doing it to get experience. And I just kind of always thought since undergrad that that's what research was, and it didn't sound very enticing to me. I was like, that's research. I don't really want to be in the lab that much. I don't. That's not me. Like it's cool for like the orgo labs, the chem labs, those were cool, especially with friends and all that. It was cool. But doing it on the side, doing it for extra time, nah, that ain't me, y'all. That ain't me. But now I'm doing this research project. It's a public health, healthcare delivery, clinical research mix of research, and it also has that, a little bit of health disparity, socioeconomics. Just like it mixes everything that I'm interested in, and it affects people that look like me. And the fact that I've discovered something that aligns with that, and doesn't have to fit into that pigeonhole box of what I thought research was, has opened a lot of doors for me, and has made my mind really rack on all the future research projects I could do. Because I never thought of myself as a research person, even though I've been working in clinical research for 3 years now. Never thought of myself as a research person. I've always been a community service person, but I think my public health degree has pushed me to see research as a form of service, as a form of being able to provide evidence, gather information, analyze, and disseminate, in the form of publications, presentations, and just overall, research news dissemination, uh, information that can serve the communities you care about. And if you can figure out how to do that based on your interests, you're golden in this world of medicine because research is also the science of networking. and I love to network. So, hey, looking forward to the next month. Hopefully the L's are not as much of L's anymore, but we'll see. I mean, there's always gonna be ups and downs, but keep following me along on the road to medicine, and we'll see where we go to next month. Y'all take care. Peace.